It's important to recognize your own level of skill sometimes. And today is one of those days. I feel kind of like this guy, like a giant, when I'm not the most giant person. We all have those days where we feel on top of the world and we feel deserved of the skill we have earned. And other days you feel completely inadequate, and that's okay. And that's why I'm doing this video today in the presence of a 14-foot troll. It just so happens to be where we're staying at the moment that the owner has gone out of his way to make something so crazy. But a friend of mine today asked me if I could meet up with a friend of his, a new acquaintance in his flat, because he runs, the way that he gets sales is similar to us in terms of paid ads, sales, call, close, give or take. And I had some very unique perspective for him because he does a coding boot camp, essentially taking people from to change business opportunity from where they are now to being able to be a full stack web developer and get a job doing that. And having done that myself with a company called Le Wagon, I told him about that, and it kind of blew his mind that that existed. This is a relatively recent endeavor for him about how the other company's doing it. And we spoke a lot today about how he gets sales. Essentially uses the same system as us, but his percentages are quite significantly below industry standard, and that's the struggle that he's currently having and why he can't scale. So to give some specific numbers, at the moment spending about $300 to $500 a day on ads. He's got about 13% booking rate of leads. So this is where it's slightly different from us. We will have a lead comes in, we get their details, we give them a call and book them in. And this is what I suggested that he then do. Instead, what he has is click on an ad, takes you to a landing page. At the bottom of a landing page is a type form. When you fill out the type form, then you're qualified or not, and you're able to then book. So we had about 30% of people fill out the type form, which is a great conversion. From my understanding of landing pages, that's pretty strong. And then from there, about a third were actually qualified and able to then, and who did successfully then book a call for themselves. Now, to give you perspective, for this year in total, our booking rate of all leads onto a call has been 45%. It was 63 for the first half of the year. And then when we brought on a new team who were doing both appointment setting and closing, they tanked our metrics down to below 40% in total. So they were getting about 25% of people booked on. It was awful, but that's tanked the numbers and we're slowly recovering it. So we're looking about 50% booking rate, whereas his is 13. So if he can get even close to industry standard, and I don't think we're particularly crazy there, that's gonna reduce his CAC, his cost to acquire a customer, down by a half to a third, which is drastic. That alone would fix his entire problem. Then the next part of the process was his show rate was only 37%. Now, industry standards for show rates are about 70%. So he's almost half the industry average there. And he's got a VSL, he's got a few bits where to help people get there, but he's missing a key implementing factor there. And then from that point, once they show up to a call, his close rate of his guys, who he thought were doing pretty good, were about 18%. Now, my understanding of sales calls is 30% is you're basically turning up. Like, you have showed up for the call, 30% of people will close. Now, where you get good is that difference between 30% and 80% close rate. Between those two numbers, that's where skill really comes in, and how good is your offer and stuff like that. If you're getting below 30%, there's a problem with your offer, or you're letting people in who shouldn't be on the call. Or you've hired someone who has no idea what they're doing. So he's got real opportunity. Oh, and at the moment, that all comes down to about $2,000 for a cost to acquire a customer. And then for about a $5,000 service. And so the solution I gave to him was, I think you just need a setter. And he's only getting about 10 to 15 new leads a day. So I was like, just pick up the phone. Just call them. The moment it comes in, pick them up, call them. Because then you will drastically increase their show rate. You'll get to know more information. You will qualify them. You'll get to know what are the type of people that actually close. And what does that person look like? And we can find more of them. And I think that one change of switching it up to actually picking up the phone, which is one extra step that is manual. It's not automated. It's a person doing it. But that alone should decrease his CAC by 75%. And now all of a sudden he's at a 10-to-1 CAC to LTV, and he's got a business that won't have a problem scaling. And he was so hyped at the end of the call. He's like, I think I might just go hire one right now. And I was like, stop, don't do that. Just do it yourself. Pick the phone up. And so that's my recommendation to you guys. If these numbers sound similar to what you're doing, then you have a real issue in your funnel somewhere of the process you're going through. So I don't know the industry standard for leads to booking a call, but for us, we're about 50% of leads. If it's much lower than that, I think you're targeting the wrong people or getting the wrong people to click. Or you are calling out to the wrong person. So maybe your hook, the thing that calls out who you're targeting to, isn't refined enough. So ours is really simple of, hey mums, because it's going to be a mum, and that's who we target to anyway. Do you have a kid who's between year 9 and year 11 in school? It's pretty accurate. And if they're between that, they're probably the right person to read the rest of this. So that could be a first switch you could do, is change the hook. That should drastically increase the proportion of people that click on your stuff that are actually relevant to what you're selling. And then if your show rate isn't 60 to 70% or better, there is an issue with mismatched expectations or a lack of trust. And so you can increase this by a VSL, a video sales letter, so sending people more information about you before they get on the call. Or this is one of the reasons I was thinking getting on the phone, is you build rapport and authority with them over the phone, because you can help solve them, give them a quick win beforehand. So a lead magnet might be a fantastic idea to increase show rates. And so, you know, if you are in person and if you're going to have an in-person meeting with someone, you might be like, oh, cool. What size shirt do you want me to set aside for you for when you turn up? Great. Now they're more likely to show up, right? So 60 to 70% plus is what you're looking for on show rates. And then close rates, you're looking at 30% plus. If you're doing less, you've got a real problem if everyone you're speaking to is the right person and you're not just closing them. That just shows a lack of skill. All in all, if you have those numbers correct and, you know, roughly within industry standards, and it's going to be a real slog to change any of them from there, then you probably have a model issue of what you're selling and how much you're selling it for, rather than the process of actually making sales. So this guy was trying to look for a new system, a new way to do it, and I was like, your way is perfectly fine. You're just way off on a few of these industry standard metrics. As soon as you get close to those, this will work like a dream. And it got him very excited, and that's why today I feel like a giant, because it just reiterated my own self-doubts that are always there as to, are we doing the right thing? And the answer is definitely yes. We're on the right track. So hopefully that'll help you if you've come across any situations of the same. If you know of anyone else who is doing sales calls like this to generate revenue, then this might be a useful video for them. And it was always going to be a fun one for me to look back on and say, okay, these were the numbers we were getting. And is it in line with what we would expect? So there we go. Have a great day, guys. If you want to do something fun today, go do something passionate. All right? Lots of love.